So this video is going to be a little bit different from the normal, and it's a video that I didn't really want to make. The last 12 months has been incredibly difficult for me, and the sequence of events that has happened is ultimately going to affect the way this channel progresses going forward. To give you context as to what's actually happened, in August of last year, I had a call from my brother out in Canada to say that my dad was unwell. There was various tests being done, and we didn't quite know what was wrong. Up until that point, my dad lived out in a rural area of Canada. He managed the property that he was on with my mum, and was very active. He was a woodworker. He was primarily the reason why I became a maker in the first place, because of the things that I saw him build, cabinets, and he was a carpenter by trade. And I guess he was my first sort of inspiration for becoming a maker. So both me and my sister flew out to Canada, and we spent 4 days with my dad, and after which he succumbed to his condition and passed away. From his initial diagnosis to him passing was 8 days, just to give context on how quickly this situation developed. That was a real gut punch, unexpected, completely out of the blue. And after which all focus turned to my mum, who herself was experiencing issues with health, had a stroke a couple of years previous, and now she's left with trying to manage the property herself, have to deal with the Canadian winters. So a lot of what we did was to prepare mum for the winter, and make her as comfortable as possible. And then come spring, summer, we would have talked about what was going to come next. The next sort of gut punch that came in was in March, when my mum became unresponsive to messages and phone calls. And sadly, my mum also passed away. So you'll notice there's a couple of videos on this channel. One actually specifically talking about teaching my dad how to 3D print. Things have certainly moved on since then. But a lot of the videos that I made were with him in mind, trying to inspire him as well as my kids. The reason that I started my channel. And ultimately, that's no longer the driving factor. One of the last things that my dad said to me before he passed away was he wanted me to be successful on YouTube. It's like, thanks, Dad. It's like, no pressure. When I got back to the UK in September, or at the end of September, I recorded a video which was how to get Fusion 360 for free. And I kind of did it in the wake of everything that was going on, just to try and take my mind off things and divert my energies into other things. This ultimately caught a little bit of air on YouTube and got me over the finishing line for the 4,000 watch hours. I think it equates to approximately a quarter of my watch hours at the time for the period. And it was almost like Dad had kind of given me a little bit of a nudge and got me into the monetization. I was able to speak to my mum before she passed, a couple of days before she passed, to tell her that I'd achieved monetization. But sadly, after a couple of days, we had the news. So in the 12 months that this is really kicked off, I've struggled with focus. I've struggled with being able to get things that I want done completed. And I guess the motivation to share success and things that I'm doing, I can't pick up the phone and call him and tell him what I've done. What's this going to mean for the channel going forward? Well, I'm going to do my very best to honor my dad's wishes in becoming successful on YouTube. It's going to be a bit challenging to try and define what success actually looks like. Is it monetization, which I've achieved? Is it a set number of subscribers? Is it becoming financially sustainable on YouTube, whether that's through AdSense, brand deals, or starting a business that YouTube is the front-facing part? So I think where I've talked in my videos about tutorials on how to do things, I think I'm going to flip things around, and this is more for my benefit, and that's to take on a particular project, document that project from the very beginning to the end, and that way it's forcing me to focus on the beginning, middle, and end pieces of the project and the focus that is needed to get me there. So in dealing with the projects, I'm going to be sharing my methodology from going from zero to an end product. That's going to be the anchoring foundation of the content going forward. I'll be taking on things that I've never done before, learning how to do it on the job, and hopefully at the end of it, having an end product. If nothing else than a failure or a learning, whichever way you want to look at that. And I'm going to show it warts and all. I'd also like to take little projects which builds my workshop out to the perfect workshop for me. I have limited space here in this attic workshop and downstairs in the outside workshop. So I had to be creative around the space that I consume. I've also got to be conscious of the funds that I'm spending at the moment. Everything that I've done has come out of my disposable income, of which there is very, very little. So if you've been around for any length of time, thank you so much for sticking around. The channel is changing. I'm hoping to get more content out more frequently, which might mean that the content is less edited, less produced, but it's going to feel a little bit more real, a bit more raw. Hopefully that resonates and makes my dad's wish for me to be successful on YouTube a reality. So thanks for sticking around this long, and I will catch you in the next video.